Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning. Shannon, where's Skip?
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
He's going to take in
You heard it. It's your day. You know what? I can't even be mad. I can't even be mad.
Here we go.
I can't even be mad.
There is one man in sports you do not bet against. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., who now has more rings than any NFL franchise. He's got 7 in 10 tries. I don't want to ever hear again on this show, Patrick Mahomes is better than Tom. No, he's not. The GOAT is the GOAT is the GOAT. Thank you.
You know what, Skip?
Start the show.
I can't even be mad at you today after what they did last night, that demolition. I can't even be mad, Skip. I want to be upset.
I'll just give you this. I like your bow tie. That's all I got.
That might be the only positive compliment we hear all day. Skip, what an entrance. You deserve it.
Yeah, you deserve it. He deserves it.
About the Super Bowl yesterday, so let's dive in. Despite being an underdog, Tom Brady, as Skip said, he won his 7th Super Bowl in his first season with the Buccaneers. Tampa controlled most of the game and never gave up the lead after going up 7-3. Brady finished with 3 touchdowns and just over 200 passing yards in the win. Patrick Mahomes couldn't get the Chiefs offense moving and threw 2 picks without finding the end zone once. So Shannon, what is the biggest reason the Bucs won this game?
Tampa Bay's defense was outstanding. Skip, I talked to Derek Brooks last night, the great linebacker from the
great Derek Brooks.
Brooks, he called soon. I think the clock was ticking down and my phone rings. I see D. Brooks pop up. And I was talking to him. He's like, man, that was an unbelievable. You had to see it to believe it. I said, Brooks, I'm watching the game. And I said, it's going to be hard-pressed for me to see a scenario in which a defensive team had a more dominating performance over historically great offense in the Super Bowl than what I saw tonight. I said, if you go back and you look at the '86 Giants, Skip, what they did to the K-Gun and Jim Kelly, you go back and look at Coach Belichick's team, what he did against the greatest show on turf. You look at what the Bucs did against the Raiders. Rich Gannon was the MVP that season. Skip, there's nothing like this. Mahomes had never not scored more than at least 20 points. He was averaging 30 points in the games in which he started. He couldn't get the ball in the end zone. And what came to fruition, Skip, I said, I was concerned because you lost your left tackle, you lost your right tackle, you took your right tackle, put him at left tackle, you put your right guard, put him at right tackle, and then you had to bring a guy that hadn't played all year long in at guard, and it showed its ugly head. They played basically one coverage the entire night. Skip, they played cover 2. They played cover 2. And when you can play cover 2...
And rush 4. They blitzed the fewest times they have all year because they didn't need to.
And when they blitzed it, they missed it. They brought the guy, McCole Hardman missed the blitz, Skip. The guy came off his side, and he never turned around.
You're talking about the double corner blitz?
Yes.
They threw a double corner at him right away.
Out of cover, a single high safety. So I'm sure they weren't expecting that, Skip. They didn't expect this. Nobody expected them to play exclusively cover 2. And the thing is about cover 2 defense, Skip, you can't throw a team out of it. You got to run them out of it. You got to force them to drop that safety down and so you can get single high safety. They were unwilling, they got, for whatever reason, Andy just wanted to throw. And you got further and further behind Shaq Barrett and JPP, and then Ndamukong Suh looked like the Ndamukong Suh his first couple of years in Detroit. He started collapsing the pocket. They let those 2 inside linebackers float to the football, and it was good night, Irene. They did a great job. They got physical at the line of scrimmage knowing I got help over the top, so if I get beat, you're not getting deep because I got 2 deep safety shell. Skip, the defense was outstanding. Tom Brady did what he needed to do. Skip, there was not one throw where he was like, well, wow, that was a dart. Guys were just, they ran the ball just enough, Skip. You see Leonard Fournette, Rojo, and then the play action was wide open. Even the first touchdown to Gronk, what did they do, Skip? Play action, Gronk wide open on the slide route out the backside. Give the Bucs credit, Skip. I understand people say that's a home field. They could have played anywhere they wanted to play. If Tampa plays like they played last night defensively, they beaten Kansas City in Arrowhead, they beaten them on the moon, they beaten them in Africa, they beaten them in Russia. That was a total domination. Give the Bucs credit. Give Bruce Arians, give Byron Leftwich, And Todd Bowles, if Coach Belichick got his game plan sent to the Hall of Fame in 1990 for what he did to the K-Gun and Jim Kelly, every piece of clothing that he had on last night need to be in the Hall of Fame. Because, Skip, that was as great a performance you'll see against a historically great offense in NFL history.
I agree with every point you just made about Todd Bowles. Now, back to the question. I'm going to try to calm down and answer this as objectively as possible. The single biggest reason the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl, and I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth, was that, number one, Bill Belichick pushed Tom Brady out the back door in New England. That was. Oh,
you going all the way? You going all the way back?
I'm going the biggest picture. You don't doubt the GOAT like that. You don't shame him publicly with stories from inside the Patriots that the whole coaching staff was down on him and thought it was time for him to go home and call it a career.
Right.
And then number two, out of nowhere, only 10 months and 14 days ago. Think about that. It was only 10 months and 14 days ago. Tom Brady shocked not just the NFL world, he shocked the sports world. He chose Tampa Bay, the Succaneers, who had the worst winning percentage for a franchise in all of sports. Tampa Bay, who hadn't made the playoffs in 13 years and hadn't won a playoff game in almost 20 years. Seriously? Yeah, he did that. But what did I tell you that first day? If you look hard at it, and you certainly agree with this part, they did have two Pro Bowl receivers. They did have Mike Evans. They did have Chris Godwin. And I told you right out of the box, they had a defense that came alive. The previous years, they fell to 7-9, but they came alive over the last 6 games because the last 6, they were ranked in the top 5. So the makings were there of a real live playoff defense that you couldn't see coming quite yet. And there were moments this year I couldn't see it coming because it was the middle of a pandemic. Tom Brady has taken his receivers to some park in Tampa and getting run out of the park because they're violating quarantine. There was no real offseason. There were 0 preseason games. And they tried to start to piece it together as Tom Brady tried to instill and install the Patriot way in Tampa Bay, as I began to call it. And they got off to an okay start. They got all the way to 6-2. And he said, no, we're not good enough. We have to go get my little man, Antonio Brown. Really? Arians is already on the record. Bruce Arians said, he's not a fit in our locker room. And Tom said, no, I'll vouch. I'll guarantee he will be a fit in our locker room. Yeah, I'll make it fit. And he did. But that first night that AB played, it was a Sunday night game, big stage, NBC game, against your arch rival New Orleans. You lost the opening day at New Orleans. It was the ugliest game of Tom Brady's career. He played the worst of his career. The defense played by far its worst game of the whole year that night because Drew Brees should have scored on his first 6 possession against that defense that did not allow Patrick Mahomes into the end zone one time in the Super Bowl. It's impossible. And yet, they lost to the Rams. And then here came Kansas City, and they ended up losing to Kansas City. But I told you the turning point of the whole season was, if we could see it real quick, Tyreek torched them in the first quarter for 203 receiving yards. How many did he have in the first quarter last night? How about 0?
Yeah, I was going to say, did he have any?
And here he is. He, on the 17-0 TD, he backflipped into the end zone. He would pay for that. Andy Reid said after the game he didn't like it, but he backflipped. And from that point on, Tampa won that game 24-10. Now, they lost the final score 27-24 because the defense couldn't get Brady the ball back one last time with 4 minutes and 10 seconds left. But that ignited into their bye week a team that started to take off. As I said, Brady started to bring that team to a boil. And what did they add in over the bye week? A little motion and a little of what Tom Brady feasted on in New England, a little play action, because they were featuring more of the run. They got Leonard Fournette more involved in the game. And all of a sudden, last night, he was 10 of 13 for 139 yards on play action. he was lethal. All of his touchdowns came on play action.
Because what could they do, Skip? All of a sudden, they could run the ball, and you got to drop Honey Badger down. You got to drop one of those safeties down. And now you got Mike Evans running across the route, Skip. He's wide open. You get guy. And think about it, Skip.